Well, it's bad enough we have to sit through fucking winter. And on top of it, we can't even fucking place bets from the comfort of our own homes.
Welcome to another edition of the Gentleman Fantasy Podcast. I'm Kyle, your host. With me, as he is every week, Aaron Rodgers becomes a head coach, Robert Rushlow.
I mean, they say those that can't do coach, and I think it's about at the turning point here for old Aaron.
And speaking of that, we have breaking news. Well, you already heard it. Robert's drinking whiskey. What do you got there, by the way?
This is just some standard Evan Williams, number one.
And as we already mentioned, Aaron Rodgers has become the Jets' head coach. Now, his name might not be on the billboard. It's actually Jeff Ulbrich,
defensive coordinator,
a guy with a beard. The defensive coordinator who's like not going to actually do anything. Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett are going to run the offense, but Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett have been running the offense, and their offense sucks. So what's going on here, Rob?
I think they just realized that Saleh was just sunk money that wasn't actually accomplishing anything. I mean, he was more or less supposed to be like the hype guy, and I don't know if that was working anymore. So
yeah,
they just cut bait.
I kind of feel like they did nothing. Like they got rid of Saleh, but they promoted the defensive coordinator, which Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. He's a defensive coordinator. So the problem is the offense, and they did nothing different there and just promoted the defensive coordinator. So have they made any changes?
No, nothing has essentially changed, but it looks good as an organization for the fans that we did something.
I guess. Now, Woody Johnson has been the owner of the Jets for 25 years. He has never made an in-season firing in his career.
Gotta love Woody.
Everyone loves a good Woody. Now,
the guy's dedicated to his staff, man. He doesn't cut bait. He sticks it out, and this was just so fucking disjointed. He didn't have a choice. He had to hide his Woody and make a hard decision.
There's all kinds of puns and stuff going on there. In related news, kind of, the Saints' Derek Carr is going to miss this week. And drum roll, please. I don't think we have a drum roll. We should have one of those.
When you want a drop that we don't have, you should just close your eyes and just hit a button, and whatever plays, that's the drop.
Got it.
Oh my God! We're having a fire sale.
Perfect.
The Saints quarterback this week is going to be Spencer Rattler. Now, tell me something about Spencer Rattler, Robert.
Besides all the cool nicknames I could give him,
all right. What are his cool nicknames going to be?
I mean, Rattlesnake. That's as far as I got.
One is enough. He's a 5th-round draft pick. He's a rookie out of South Carolina. I think that's all you need to know. I've never heard of this guy before. I didn't even know he was on a roster.
And Rick would be the first one to tell you that's all it takes to be better than his replacement. So, than who he's replacing.
And the reason why these two storylines both tie together is Davante Adams is still looking for a team. He quote may play next week. May.
Ooh.
It looks like he's got another month till the trade deadline. This could get ugly here for Adams. I don't know what's going on here, but do you think the Jets are more likely to get Adams now that they got rid of Saleh? And do you think the fact that Carr is hurt, do you think that hurts the Saints' chances of getting Adams?
I'm going to be honest. I don't care. I don't know. It's such a disgusting pile of drama that is so. I'm annoyed. I'm super annoyed by it. I was annoyed by this when it was, all the other players asking for trades recently. It's just sucks. It's stupid. I hate it. Play football. Do your job. You're making so much fucking money. Just play the game.
You know what I enjoy?
If you want to trade, cool. Ask for a trade, but don't just sit there and throw a fit. Oh, no, my hamstring. I can't take the field. Like, fuck off, dude. That's disrespectful to the fans that pay to watch you play. The reason you make money. This fucking kills me.
Yeah, and I just revel in the fact that whenever these star players leave the Packers, they all talk shit on the way out the door and then just like light matches and set off the bombs the moment they leave, because nothing's ever the same and shit falls apart for these guys after they leave the Packers organization.
Yeah, we're a safe space. We're a great place to play. Just fucking be a Packer. Quit complaining. Freaking Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, speaking of Romeo Dobbs.
How long till he asks for a trade?
I mean, I would think he's already asked for one, right? Apparently there have been teams calling around. Now, Robert and I went to a game last week. Robert was too drunk to notice, but Dobbs was hurt, or not hurt. Dobbs was upset during that game, and apparently he left the game and decided to ghost the Packers during practice all week. And on Friday, after missing 2 unexcused practices in a row, team officials had to go to his house to find out what the hell was going on with Dobbs. Apparently they had a conversation. Apparently he wasn't very happy, and they suspended him for the game last week.
Yeah, I watched most of that game.
I mean, you were there in spirit.
I saw the field.
I think Jimmy will agree with me on this one. But since Jimmy's not with us, it's only a matter of time before he joins us for another one of these episodes.
Yeah, I think that's going to have to happen. People only want to listen to us rant for so long. They like a little change of pace once in a while. Guillotine League's been good for that.
And you know, I have a feeling we're going to have some rather enjoyable interviews coming up here with some of these people that we don't normally get to speak to. Now, unfortunately, the first few weeks, it was literally just the same people we speak to on a regular basis. So, we'll get to the good interviews coming up here. So if you guys are just sick of listening to the same people over and over again, fuck off.
Yeah, it's our podcast. We didn't make you subscribe.
Now, speaking of players and injuries and now buys, it's been incredibly tough to field the team the last couple of weeks here. And I think pretty much everyone's grasping at straws at this point. Everyone's either hurt or guys are underperforming. You've got like the top drafted running backs in the league. McCaffrey's been missing. Breece Hall he's still playing, but he's been missing. Friggin' Bijan Robinson's getting outsnapped by Justin Allgaier or whatever. Tyler Algier. Justin Allgaier's he's a NASCAR driver. Anyways. You know, and in fact, for the second year in a row, Brian Robinson is the higher scoring B. Robinson.
It's great. You gotta love it. Yeah, with the buys, it's funny. Like last week, I thought, man, all the heavy hitting teams, and now this week it's Minnesota, Miami, Kansas City, just another pile of guys that you probably drafted relatively high are gone.
Yeah, we in the buys for this week are Kansas City, the Rams, Miami, and Minnesota. And thank God Miami is on bye. I don't have to consider playing those fucking Miami players because, boy, they have been killing me in the Guillotine League.
Yeah, who knew that Tua meant that much? It's pretty sad to see what they're doing.
The Dolphins are pretty bad. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, sad times. I actually like the Dolphins.
So let's get to some hard-hitting analysis here. Let's talk about those guillotine scores from last week because, man, the scores in the Guillotine League were almost pretty exciting. Yeah,
I think going towards the end, it looked like it was either you, me, or Joby on the chopping block there.
Yep. And Kirk came from behind.
Right. He wasn't even on my radar. I was like, dude, it is one of us three. There's no other way. I thought for sure it was me.
So the crazy part about that is I needed, I think it was like 4.2 points or something like that on Monday night out of my Dallas running back.
Rico Dowdle.
Rico Suave Dowdle. Now, and then he ended up getting like 25 points, which that was cool. It made me happy. But Rob decided to have the ultimate nail biter, and your boy, Samaje Perine,
ended
up with one catch for 24 yards. That 124-yard catch got him exactly 2.4 points, which was 0.1 point more than Andrew. I was like, holy shit, Andrew's about to lose by 1/10 of a point.
Right.
And then Kirk screwed the whole fun of all that.
Yeah, it would have been way more entertaining if I edged Joby out by a fraction. That was truly great. On one catch. His only
one catch, one play. He did one thing during the game, and that was just enough to almost beat Joby. Now, speaking of Kirk, now I will tell you, last night I talked to him, and he told me he would be with us. I gave him a 15-minute warning tonight, and I also sent him the link. He still hasn't shown up yet. So
he took the loss harder than we thought.
Kirk, you're on the clock. I'm going to give you another 10 minutes of real time, which by the time I'm done cutting will be about 37 seconds. We
cut out a lot of bullshit.
That's right. To show up. Otherwise, we're just going to tear his team apart, just you and me.
Yeah.
And I had a very exciting interview planned for him. Now, I apologize. I got a wee little bit of a cold here. So if you hear me sniffling and coughing in the microphone here, it's Robert's fault.
I just thought you were going to cut all that out. What you got there?
I might.
Pepsi Zero?
That's right.
Nice. Solid.
All right. Next thing on my list. LeBron James hates Milwaukee. Did you hear about this?
You brought that up in our pre-show meeting, and I don't have any context here, so you're going to have to tell me the story.
All right. LeBron James questions need for preseason trip to Milwaukee. Quote, can someone please explain to me why we're getting on a plane and heading to Milwaukee for one preseason game? I don't know, LeBron. Maybe because you're part of the NBA and that's just how the fucking game works? Like, what?
Can someone explain to me how this game that I've been playing for 25 years, I don't understand.
So here's the deal. So the NBA does not regulate preseason games. The teams can choose their own preseason games and the amount of games that they want to play. So the Bucks and the Lakers entered in some sort of deal where they do like a home and away thing a couple years ago. But the Lakers typically only play like 3 games in California and then like a couple games on the West Coast and don't go anywhere else, and they don't travel. So apparently they're doing work at the arena that the crypto arena that the Lakers play at. So they can't play any home games. So LeBron is pissing and moaning because they're playing all of their preseason games on the road because their stadium is getting fixed. And he's blaming it, saying, this is stupid. Why are we going to Milwaukee? Well, tell their fucking people to fix your stadium at a different time of the year.
Well, plus, what an awesome coaching moment for Big Daddy to Little Brownie, playing on the road, getting used to being in different locker rooms, understanding, the proper way to get rest and warm up in different cities and situations. Like, consider it a teaching moment, Daddy Brown. Come on.
Yeah, I got no comment about LBJ Jr.
LJBTQ Jr.
He'll be out of the league in a year.
Ronnie or LeBron?
I'll take either.
I mean, I don't know if he has any records left to break. He might as well get out.
I don't know. But next on my list here.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now, you will not believe this, but the other night, in fact, this was last week, prior to the games, I'm looking at my roster in the Guillotine League, and I'm going, man, I got a rough stretch here. I don't have any quarterbacks. Everybody else is on bye. I think I'm screwed. Going into the week, I was projected to have the low score. I'm telling Nicole, I'm like, Nicole, I think this is my week. I think I'm done. And she looks at me and she's like, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I don't have a legit quarterback. My only one quarterback I have left just got listed as out. I literally have to pick up his backup is like the only chance I have of scoring any points. And she looks at me and she goes, I'll make you a deal. I'll trade you a quarterback.
I knew it.
I'll trade you a quarterback, but you have to trade me him back the next week.
I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. I brought it up in the pod she was on. This is exactly what I was talking about.
So, and my exact reply to her is, you can't do that. That's collusion. And she looked at me just dead straight, and she's like, I don't even know what that means. What is collusion? I'm like, listen, That's like literally the biggest cardinal sin in fantasy football. You can't just trade a player for 1 week and trade him back. Like, you can't do that. It's morally wrong. You're obligated to not do that.
I don't feel like you should have had to explain that either. Seems pretty common sense.
You would think so, right? Yeah. So then it comes to waivers on Sunday, and she was like, so are you picking up Tutu Atwell? Or did you put a bid in for Tutu Atwell? And I'm like, I can't tell you that. And she's like, what do you mean you can't tell me that? I'm like, because I can't tell you that. She's like, well, does that mean you did? And I said, you know what, Nicole? I can't give you any information. She's like, well, why are you being such an ass? I'm like, listen, we are competing against each other. I can't tell you what my bid is, because if I do, you might go change your bid. And if you tell me what your bid is, if I really want the guy, that might entice me to change my bid. And she's like, would you really do that? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if I really need the guy to stay alive. That's why we don't tell each other these things.
The insider trading. Hey, Jordan Love is hurt. Hey, can we borrow Josh Allen for a week? We'll give him back when we're done.
Yes, right, of course. So I had to have that conversation with her, and she thought I was being an ass. And I'm like, no, seriously, we just can't do that. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, I wasn't there when you explained it to her. Maybe you were being an ass in that respect, but I mean, your point is correct.
So, that is my collusion moment.
I'm proud of you for
we tried to
adhering to the guidelines of the fantasy realm.
Now, speaking of collusion, I'm assuming you and I are the only ones that listen to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show.
I would be willing to guess that's probably correct.
Okay. So this is a scenario that was brought up on the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. I don't know if you've listened to the most recent episode, but I'm just going to throw this out there, and I want to hear your take on this because I thought this was a fantastic fantasy court thing. All right. Now, this couldn't happen in our league because of the way our league is set up where you can't make trades midweek. But imagine this, because this is kind of genius, and I could see how everyone was pissed off when this happened. Two guys are playing each other. One guy is down 3 points and has Harrison Butker left to play. The other guy says, hey, I will trade you Travis Etienne right now. If you trade me Harrison Butker, I'll leave Harrison Butker on my bench, and it guarantees you the win. Or no, sorry. I get the win. I preserve the win by taking Harrison Butker. You can't beat me, but I'm going to give you Travis Etienne. So the guy goes for that. He trades. He gets Etienne. He lays down, takes the loss, right? This guy gets Butker, and shit, is that how it goes? I can't remember. Am I doing this wrong? Did you listen to this one?
It sounds right so far.
Yeah, so the guy gets Etienne, lays down, the other guy gets Butker. It's done.
Gets the win. Yep.
The only other guy is Blake Groupie, and Blake Groupie is on somebody else's team. So this whole league is up in an uproar because this one guy just laid down a victory to get Travis Etienne. So people are all in an uproar. Then the consensus kind of goes, okay, well, this guy traded Travis Etienne for a win. He guaranteed that he was going to get a win. He traded away Travis Etienne. So then the guy with Etienne goes and trades Trey Sermon to the guy with Blake Groupie, and Groupie hasn't played yet, and puts him in his lineup. So he just got Etienne, and he goes, fuck it, I'm going to get Blake Groupie, and I'm going to beat this guy anyways, even though I told him I was going to take the L if we did this Butker trade. So the guy starts losing his mind, but the justice of the whole thing is Blake Groupie went 0 for 1 for field goals and didn't kick a point after and ended up with negative points. So the guy ended up losing anyways.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to know the actual verbiage they used when they made the trade. But I mean, I don't think there was any contingency laid out where he couldn't do anything with other players. It's like, hey, we're making this trade
right.
with it being semi-obvious that one team was going to lose. But I mean, props to him for being like, fuck this. I'm still going to try to get this dub.
Right. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Where the guy was like, hey, if we trade this Butker thing, I'm going to ensure that you have a win. I can't beat you. You give me ETN, I'll take a loss. And the guy's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll take a win and I'll get rid of ETN.
Yeah, and take it from me. You're not going to win anymore this
You're definitely not going to win with ETN.
Because it's not working great for me.
So I thought that was a fun little trade commentary there.
That is fun. Very good.
All right. Well,
I actually agree with the trade like not being like overturned via league like vote or something. That I don't see a reason that can't be a thing, I suppose.
Well, and here's the thing. To me, it doesn't necessarily affect the league. I mean, it affects the outcome of that game, but it doesn't affect the league necessarily as a whole.
Yeah, and I don't think ETN's good enough where it's like one of those things where you're like, oh, you just gave him some worthless player for the best running back in the league. Like one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm out of the playoffs anyways. I'll give you this guy since you're making a championship run. Like that kind of shit. It seems a little less relevant.
Yeah. So I hate to say it. I don't think Kirk's joining us. This is going to be our first L for the season.
It was bound to happen eventually.
So I guess we'll just have to go on roasting without him.
Let's have at her.
All right. Well, Kirk was the only one who didn't show up for the draft. And, as you guys know, that was a detriment to Kirk because Kirk came out of the league or out of the draft with a team in a league with an offensive position. So typically, it's 2 quarterback heavy. He came out of the draft with 0 starting quarterbacks. He was gifted the fact that Justin Fields ended up getting the starting job. Had Justin Fields as a starter every week, but as a consolation, he ended up being absolutely fucking stacked at wide receiver.
Yes. Yeah, the auto draft did him a lot of favors in the other positions for sure.
For some reason, the auto draft showed the tight ends as the highest rated players because, we don't have like an actual tight end position. So his whole bench was basically tight ends, but he ended up absolutely stacked at wide receiver. And he was getting enough out of Fields to make it that he was scoring points and his team actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't the team I expected to be knocked out, which is surprising.
Yeah, which is
quarterback.
Right, because I thought he was going to be fine for a while. Now, to his detriment, he drafted his team and then did nothing.
Right.
Like, he had the opportunity to bolster his team. He put in 0 waiver claims. He did minimal roster changes. He ended up not getting anyone in waivers and basically lost last week because he had Tajay Spears on bye. All he had to do was just pick up anyone.
Yeah.
And he would have been in better shape.
Especially in a league where you get points for first downs. Like, just pick some chud slot receiver up that can get a couple of catches and you're good.
Yeah. So Kirk, you fucked up. I was really hoping we would get some good stories out of him.
So is this is the 4th team knocked out now?
This is the 4th team knocked out.
And between all 4 teams, if I'm not mistaken, only 1 team made a 1 waiver move.
Correct. And that was Ryan, apparently, within the first
$5.
Was it $5? Okay. So, yeah, so Ryan had 95 left. And then Zach lost. Zach had 100. Then, who was out last week?
Rathgaber.
Oh, yeah. Rathgaber. And he had $100 left. And now you got Kirk, and he also had $100 left. So, you're basically $395 came off the board. Now, if you look at... God dang. If you look at the budget summary, there's a lot less money left than you would expect at this point.
I think I'm in the 30s somewhere.
Yeah, so Jason's down to $11. He's looking a little rough on money. Mr. Olsen, the old Molson Canadians, he's got $62. You got $36. Amy's got $56. Jimmy's got $85, but we both know Jimmy's not going to win. I got $61. Andrew's got $99. Andrew's been flirting with disaster here.
I was going to say, and he almost lost. There's something to be learned here.
I know. Nicole's got 74. Steve's got 85. Aaron's got 74. Aaron's kind of got like a closet good team. Kral's got 75. His team's been pretty solid. And Rick's at 66. And Rick's team's pretty solid. Interesting fact, when you look at the standings here, Rick's 5-0. I believe Kral is 4-1. Not that these wins and losses even matter at all. But everybody else
look at the season points.
That is true. Carl's got the most points at 768. Aaron's second. Steve's third. Jimmy's 4. Rick's 5th.
I have to be dead last.
Oh, no. I'm worse than you. In fact,
Really?
Yes, I have. I am the 12th scoring team right now. Now, mind you, the 3 teams below me have all been eliminated, so they definitely have more points than I have, or less points than I have. But I'm at 536. Andrew's at 549. Mr. Matt Olson is at 555. You're at 562. Yeah, so then, and Kirk just lost. He's at 582. Kirk was at 1, 2, 3. Kirk was in 8th place in scoring.
So, if I may, can I read off why the waivers are going to be extremely entertaining this week?
Absolutely.
All right. Here's some players that are hitting the board that I think are going to put a significant dent in the fab on the board. So, we have Breece Hall.
Yes.
Justin Jefferson.
The number 3
Chris
wide receiver.
Olave. Yeah.
Yep.
Chris Olave.
Nico Collins.
Yep. Nico Collins. George Pickens. T. Higgins.
Yes.
Tajay Spears. Kyle Pitts. Trey McBride. Brock Bowers. Miles Sanders. And Justin Fields are the big names.
Yeah. There might be some people that are pretty low on money after this week.
Yeah. Jefferson and Breece Hall alone are probably going to suck up a significant amount, I would imagine.
So, I mean, the question here is, do you go all in and try to get some of these guys this week? Because there are a lot of good ones. And put yourself in a position that you might not be able to pick up guys later. Do you try to hang back and see if you can make it another week or two and be high on money? Or does everyone try to conserve money and guys go way less than they're supposed to?
Right. And yeah, exactly. And then you wait too long and then you're up against people that have more fab than you anyways. Or do you shoot your shot early while everyone's still trying to be conservative while they're winning games and cherry pick, not necessarily cherry pick, but, take your shots and get them at maybe a mid-range price versus spending your entire butt. It's a weird thing. It is so much thinking. It's actually maddening.
It's
There's no right answer.
No, there is no right answer.
Because I could spend my whole fab on Justin Jefferson, lose, and then somebody could get him for $10 next week, and then they lose, and the next guy pays $50. Like the same guy could go for
and that's the other thing. Because for instance, let's just use Justin Jefferson as a perfect example. He got dropped this week. If the wrong guy picks him up and loses next week, he might be available next week. You might be able to get him for half the money next week because everyone else spent all their money. You know what I mean?
I could put a $15 bid on him this week, not get him. 2 weeks later, he could be back, and I could put that same $15 bid and get him. Well, there you go.
So there you go. I got him anyways. I know. So it's kind of interesting. It's gonna be weird to see how this plays out.
Weird league.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm almost enjoying this more than our normal league. In fact, I think we've talked about this way more than our normal league.
Well, I mean, last year we had that weird league too, and it was actually wildly entertaining as well. I think it's just fun to look at fantasy from a different angle sometimes and just kind of freshen it up.
Yeah. Speaking of the normal league, let's touch on that for a moment here.
It is what this podcast was founded on.
I mean, for those of you scoring at home, for some godforsaken reason, Depre's 5-0. How the fuck is this happening?
Dude, I am having one of my worst years, and I actually like my team. I don't even know what to say. I haven't been losing by a lot. It's just bad luck, man. Bad breaks.
Yeah, so I was in cruise control. I was the number 1 scoring team prior to this last week here, and then my team, due to buys, injuries, everything, you're taking off your pants. I'm staring at your dick.
I was hot. I have shorts on now.
I mean, you could have at least, turned the camera or something.
I have a headset on. It's plugged in. There was too much fucking around. I didn't want to make noise. I'm a professional, Kyle. You've seen a dick before. You've seen my dick before. Calm down.
I will agree. So we, so I was number 1 in points. I was in cruise control. Then everything came off the wheels last week. I had all of my buys. I had all of my injuries. I could barely field a team. I scored 67 points, and I went from number 1 to number 4 in scoring by a decent margin. I think I'm down like 40 points from the high score right now, which is Crawl of all people.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the number 1 pick next year. Oh wait, that's not a thing. Yeah, I'm tied for dead last with Jason and Ryan.
You know, if this is any consolation here, Zach and Ryan really trying to tank both leagues, and maybe you're next.
Yeah, I'm sad. I really do try. It, Kyle Pitts. It's not working for the fourth straight year. I can't quit him.
But yeah, the standings are kind of crazy. I know in our division, you're 1-4. Somehow, miraculously, the one-win wonders are still 3-2, even though Jimmy still hasn't gotten a legit win yet. Mike is 3-2.
That's it.
And Mike's 3-2, and he doesn't have a quarterback anymore. It looks like Rathgaber's doing all right. Andrew's doing all right. Jason and Ryan are both 1-4. They're struggling. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Ball's strange this year. So it's like just so many players hurt, so many weird underperforming studs and overperforming randos. It's been hard to be, I guess, intentionally successful in any league this year.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that.
I mean, so Rick and I go to this bar called the Wooden Nickel in Appleton, and we're in a bar fantasy league, which is weird, but we felt so awesome about the fact that we got Amon-Ra St. Brown and AJ Brown and freaking Garrett Wilson. We're like, holy shit, we are fucking stacked at wideout. Like, we thought we were like unbeatable, and you actually get money at the end of the year if you lead by position in scoring. We're like, really? Well, we're cashing out on the wide receiver one. Nobody stacked it like we did, and we had Josh Allen, so we were like, fuck, we're gonna win that one too. And we are just
was nobody else knowing what they were doing here, or what?
It's a weird league that people go after weird different players, and we were in the perfect spot. We were right in the middle too, so we were just kind of
so that means you're going to take fourth place is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, the snake draft rules, like, you get right in the middle, you get to pick someone every 10 players, so it worked out nice. But yeah, just some guys fell like that, and we couldn't believe it, and it just didn't work out great. But that's what I'm talking about, like, because we easily could have picked up, I don't know, Deebo Samuel. It would have been the same problem,
right?
List any one of the Cooper Kupp would have been the same problem. Puka Nacua would have been the same problem. It's just everyone's dead. Tyreek Hill,
Devontae Adams,
it is dead on the top, dude.
I mean,
and we'd said every year, as long as you pick up a couple stud receivers, you can't go wrong. You could figure everything else out. That is not the case this year.
So while we're here, let's talk about some top scoring players in our fantasy league this year. Now, they put Nico Collins on IR.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it could be kind of interesting what he goes for. I will tell you one thing: I definitely cannot afford to pick him up since I'm sitting with frickin' Devontae Adams and I'm talking about the Guillotine League. Since I have Devontae Adams and Christian McCaffrey sitting on my bench every fucking week, it makes it kind of hard to pick up another guy on IR.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, can you believe the Texans, like, sneakily only have one loss? They lost Tank Dell for how long? They lost, what's his name, the running back, for a while. Now they're down Collins, but they just somehow just keep winning, even though they don't look great at all. Especially without Nico Collins in. Like, they look disjointed.
So let's talk about your top wide receivers right now in scoring. Number 1, Jamar Chase. Kind of coming out of nowhere because that team looked like a dumpster fire the first 3 weeks.
Wow, we didn't even think he was going to play. With the contract dispute.
Yeah. He had 6 points, 3 points, then 23, 14, and 31. He's now the number 1 wide receiver. Number 2, Nico Collins, now on IR. Number 3, Jaden Reed. Then, of course, Justin Jefferson. You expect him to be there.
Jaden Reed up there.
Then here's some fun ones for you. Rashid Shaheed, Brian Thomas, both Tampa Bay wide receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Malik Neighbors, Juwan Jennings, Alec Pierce, and Drake London are your top 12.
Yeah, just weird. A bunch of mid-tier guys. I'm happy about the Malik Neighbors thing. I got him everywhere I could get him. I fucking love that guy.
Now, my favorite one here is the top running backs. Now, there's a scoring glitch in ESPN. ESPN thinks Scott Matlock, who is a defensive tackle for the Lions, is the number one running back. So for those of you guys who are just, looking at rankings at home and aren't actually paying attention to the yardage and that kind of stuff, pick up Scott Matlock. I hear he's the number one.
Somebody drops like all their fab on Scott Matlock. Can you believe this guy? How can believe he was on waivers?
But anyways, Derrick Henry, number 1, Elvin Kamara, 2, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Jordan Mason, number 5, James Cook, Brian Robinson Jr., Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, and Chuba Hubbard is number 10.
God. Good God.
Notable players that are not in the top 10. Devon Achane, 23, Bijan Robinson, 24, Travis Etienne, 29. Tank Bigsby has looked much better than him. Braylon Allen is 35. Breece Hall is 23.
Mixon way down at 42.
He's been hurt. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. At quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow is up to 3. Jaden Daniels is 4. If you pick Jaden Daniels, Jason, your team should be much better than it is. You got Jaden Daniels for fucking nothing.
I wish I got him. So sad.
Don't we all? I picked the wrong young guy. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields at 9, and CJ Stroud at 10. Notable players that are not in the top 10, Pat Mahomes, 18. Boy, if you spent money on him this year, Jason,
yeah, but of course he just catches the ultimate break and just like, well, good thing my other quarterback.
All right,
really
just fuck it. I'll put Mahomes on my bench all year.
Oh well.
Imagine if he had that extra $30, what he could have done with a running back or a wide receiver.
Yeah, he probably would have got one that's really expensive, that's worthless, like Tyreek Hill.
Mostly, he would have ended up with Tyreek Hill or Devontae Adams. Something like that.
So who cares?
Who cares? It's a very good
Nico
point.
Collins.
So I guess it's fine that he ended up with Mahomes. What's the difference? The guy was going to be hurt anyways.
The fucking dartboard, dude. It doesn't matter.
I mean, why do we play this game? I mean, it's maddening.
I don't know. We like to convince ourselves we know anything, and then we get the perfect team. Oh, I fucking nailed my draft. Oh shit, he's out for the year.
Hey,
oh shit, he got traded. Oh
by
shit,
the way,
he's not happy.
Here's the ultimate crapshoot. Let's talk about tight ends for a moment.
Oh my god.
If you had to guess who the number 1 tight end would be right now, who is it?
Well, I guess I would say it would be Kelsey, if I had to guess. But
No, Kelsey's 11.
right.
George Kittle's number 1. Take a wild guess who's number 2.
Not Kyle Pitts.
No, I like super wild, like way fucking off in left field.
But Austin Hooper.
It's somebody that you've seen play a lot.
Isaiah Likely
Tucker Kraft
is number 2.
The number 2 scoring tight end in fantasy football right now is Tucker Kraft.
Damn.
Just so you know, that is all you need to do is score 2 touchdowns. Actually, three touchdowns. Literally, his entire scoring output was 3 touchdowns.
Well, one was for like 60 yards.
That's right. But he's had 37 yards, 16 yards, 24, 53, and 88 yards on the season. 3 touchdowns. That's all you got to do is score 3
number
touchdowns.
8.
Yes. Also ahead of Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers, Isaiah Likely, who Depry dropped like $70 on or something. What? Why? $53.
Tell you what, he would not have beat me this last weekend had he not had Isaiah Likely about, because that fucking saved him.
Really?
He didn't beat me by much, and all that Likely bullshit, all those miracle touchdowns and shit, that's the reason he beat me.
It was real likely. Dallas Goedert, Cole Kmet, Pat Freiermuth, Kyle Pitts, Brenton Strange, and Trey McBride round out the top 10.
Awesome.
So, moral of the story is...
no Kelsey, no Kincaid.
Well, here's the thing. I'm to the point with tight ends.
Laporta. Sammy Laporta way down at freaking 24.
I feel better about having kickers than tight ends at this point. Like, what's the point?
This is why I hate kickers. Somehow they're more important than quarterbacks. They just they swing way too much of the game. They're way too important. you get a 25-point kicker anytime you have a decent game, and it's like it swings everything. It's too much. It's overpowered. Get rid of kickers. Listen to me, everybody.
Brandon
Vote
Aubrey
against kickers.
Brandon Aubrey right now would be your number 2 wide receiver.
It's wild. He'd probably be a top 10 quarterback.
No, actually, he's nowhere near that.
What does he have for scoring?
He's got 73 points. The closest quarterback that has 73 points right now is Brock Purdy, and he's number 14.
What about running back?
Running back's not very close. Running back, he would be the running back 6.
Stupid.
He's outscored the highest scoring tight end by double.
So in a snake draft, he should go in like the 3rd round.
But see,
Maybe earlier.
So here's the thing, though. He is only outscoring the number. Actually, he's outscoring the number 10 kicker by like almost double.
Yeah, so value based. That's
value
pretty
based.
significant.
That is pretty good. Fairbairn is at 64.5. Boswell's 58. Koo's 58. Moody 56. Moody's out. Lutz 55. So yeah, I mean that's a big gap. I mean it's 10 points to the second place guy and another 10 points to the third place guy, and then everybody's kind of. If it wasn't for the top 2 guys, everybody's within 15 points of each other. So it's very similar to tight end. It typically usually is, where you got like 2 or 3 guys at the top that are way over everyone else, and then everybody else is kind of flip a fucking coin.
Right. So he's the 22nd, if my math isn't too far off. The 22nd highest scoring fantasy player, period.
Something along here. Yeah, we can do that. Hold on. I can figure that out. Oh, yeah, okay. You're right. Because it doesn't give you an overall ranking. It gives you the player rank. So, fantasy.
22. I just did it.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
You know who's above him
that's
in
kind of
scoring,
an outlier.
though?
Nico Collins.
The Vikings defense.
Yes, the Vikings defense has been very good.
They are up at 21, 20, 19, 18 overall. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
they're doing really great.
It's almost like your Dallas from last year.
That was so much fun. I had no business winning games last year.
So I think it's that time of the night. Let's talk some bets, man.
Oh shit.
Now, I was all amped prior to this because I misread a score. I thought Robert won last week, and I was pretty amped to talk about this. Turns out I was wrong. So Rob had the Bills -1, the Ravens -2.5, and the Commies -3. He lost on the Bills, 1 on the Ravens, and 1 on the Commies. I had the Bucks +1.5. That was my only loss, and son of a bitch, they lost to the Falcons in overtime.
Yeah.
So that was almost a win. I had the Vikings -2.5 and the Commies -3. Those were both wins. So on the year, and granted, on the year is starting at week 5. I'm down $100. Rob's down $100. So we're gonna try to redeem ourselves this week. Rob, what do you got?
See, the problem, Kyle, is I tried using your strategy. Taking the lines,
and you almost
like
won.
Not well, yeah. That's almost right. It's always almost. That's how it always goes.
So, hey, by the way, I re-listened to our conversation from last week, and I got to bring up one thing, okay?
Okay.
So your argument for your bets was you're making these bets because they're fun and not because you're trying to win money.
No, Kyle,
but
I'm trying to win money. I'm not. I was saying I would take more risk in a hypothetical game to get better odds to try to beat you on some random chance than if I were trying to actually make real money. That's what I was trying to tell you this whole fucking time. You're not.
No. Yeah, but no. What you're missing on that is what I think is actually hilarious is that you're willing to take less of a good bet.
No.
What do you mean?
It's not about how good the bet is. I'm saying I would take more risk if I didn't care, if I was just betting hypothetical money.
But it's not taking more risk.
Well, I was planning on taking more risk if it got bad enough where I was losing to you.
Because you're not taking more risk, because you're taking the points and you're getting either way.
Okay, let's say you're up on me like $300 after the next 3 weeks or something like that, right? I would start taking riskier bets to try to catch up to you. That was my point. I wouldn't be taking bets that I would actually go place.
No, but the point of this game is you're supposed to be making bets that you are placing to see whether or not my bets make more sense than your bets. I'm not taking crazy bets. I'm taking the bets that I would make if I actually went to Oneida, which I'm not going to because it's not logistically possible for me. And we're using an arbitrary number of $100 because it's easier for math.
Fine, Kyle. Fine.
I mean, make the bets you would normally make because you should be, because in your theory, if you're making the bets that are most likely to win, in your theory, what does it matter what it pays out? Because the odds of you winning are higher regardless of what the payout is, in your theory.
I know that, Kyle. I'm saying if I were losing to you, though, come week 5 or 6, I would be taking different bets to try to get crazy odds.
Okay, and the point I'm going to make here is you're not going to be losing to me because neither of us are ever going to win one of these bets. That's the whole point of this.
No. Football's a crapshoot. These parlays are impossible. Teasers, you can't even win teasers, much less parlays.
By the way, speaking of parlays, of course, Kral had to bring up, one of Kral's unique $1.78 bets that he won on a 3 or 4-way parlay.
Yeah, nailed it. Won some good money.
Good job.
I bet you he had
job,
fun.
Kral.
I bet you he had fun.
He had fun betting that $1.78 to win,
yes.
$17.83 or whatever it was.
Only a crazy man would bet a lot of money on any of these games. Nobody knows who's actually going to win.
Well,
but
anyway.
just for you, I did a money line parlay this week just to adhere to your wishes, so you'd stop yelling at me.
All right, let's hear you.
All right, I got the 49ers to beat Seattle tomorrow in Seattle at -185.
Okay.
I got the Steelers to beat the Raiders in Las Vegas at -155. For what reason those odds are that low, I have no idea.
Some of the odds this week were kind of odd. And I mean, they're odds. Just like numbers I didn't understand. But keep going.
I'm taking the Bengals to beat the Giants in New York at -180. And lastly, I am taking the Falcons.
Ooh, your 4-way bet.
To beat the Panthers. Yep, we're going a 4-way at -260. I am taking all away teams, road favorites.
Really?
Yep. And that all put together gets me +446.
+446. All right, Rob's doing a 4-way for +446. I, on the other hand, I'm doing a 3-way. You ready for this?
I mean, I have my headphones on.
I'm going back to the well. I'm going back to the Bucks here. The Bucks are a 3.5 point favorite over the Saints. The Saints are starting a quarterback I've never heard of. How are they? I mean, I'm assuming the Saints are at home, but how are the Bucks only a 3.5 point favorite?
Because the Saints won games by giving the ball to Alvin Kamara every single touch. Any quarterback can do that.
Either way, I'm taking the Buccaneers. I'm going back to the well. They're the team that screwed me last week. We're going to try it again.
See, this is the reason I didn't put the Bills in any of my bets, because I am not touching the Bills again.
Well, I did put the Bills in my bet.
Oh my God.
I'm taking. Look, the Bills are -2.5 against the dumpster fire Jets. I understand they fired Robert Saleh, but my bet is that Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett fuck it up even worse this week, and it turns into more of a dumpster fire. Bills -2.5 over the Jets.
You're making a huge mistake.
And then
don't touch the Bills.
My outlier here. I'm taking the Commies +6.5 over the Ravens.
Mm. The Ravens do like to win close games.
So the Commanders have been scoring. They haven't been punting. I can't imagine. I mean, a 6.5 point spread. It's less than a touchdown. But maybe I should have adjusted that one. Anyways, I feel like the Commies can win this game. They've been scoring a lot. If they keep it within 6.5, that's a win for me. Those three are all +110, which gives me a +596.
All right. Best of luck on that one.
So I'm doing a 3-way for +596. Robert's doing a 4-way for +446. You're taking favorites on the road and making it an even game. So that's what Robert's doing. Robert's got all negative lines. I got all plus lines. But I got points to deal with, and he's got straight up wins. He's got the Niners, Steelers, Bengals, and Falcons. So there it is. Rob, any parting shots for this week?
Yeah, you go first. I'll think of something.
I don't have anything good. I'm blanking. I had one comment to make, and I'm blanking on what it is. So,
fuck it. How important could it be? No point in forcing it, right?
It can't be that important. Kirk, fuck you. You didn't show up. Hopefully we'll be able to make it up later in the season. I apologize for not having a guest this week, guys. I thought we had an ace in the hole. It's just going to be Robert and I. I hope you guys enjoyed the Gentleman Fantasy Podcast, and we will be back next week. We're going to do it this year. We're going to do every week. I feel it.
Yeah. Hey, and maybe Kirk will show up next week. We'll do like a 4-screen thing. Fuck it.
Oh man, we'll do a 4-way. Rob's doing a 4-way this week. We'll see how it turns out. I have a feeling we're both just going to be down $200 next week. Let's find out what happens. Likely. All right, I'm Kyle. That's Rob. This is the Gentleman Fantasy Podcast. Have a week.
Go Pack.
All right, I got to go make some waiver claims now.
You ever have one of those weeks that's so intensely busy that you can't even pick what to talk about? Like, hey, what do you got for this week? Like
every week in my life now.
Yeah, I blanked. I don't even know.